现敬礼，传承祖师，敬礼了明和尚。
Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, homage to the Venerable Mang Liaoming, homage to Master Sakya Zhengkong, homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, and homage to Master Dubten Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of Homa today, Namo Yamantaka Heruka Vidyaraja. Sumo Tanzen Kaizo Tuten City. Dhamma, all Dhamma masters, Dhamma educators, Dhamma teachers, Dhamma lecturers, Dhamma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good afternoon, how do you do?
아이스테르 사랑해 오라미코 게게로 모쳐 스고인 이치바 키모지 쭈미 야비 뿌린뿌린 konnichiwa.那现在通知大家
I would like to announce for next Sunday, December 5th, at 3 p.m.
是地藏王菩萨的护摩法会。
There will be Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva Homa fire offering ceremony.
这一尊是世尊本身的
This deity is Grandmaster's Yidam.
那么地藏王菩萨，也就是金
Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva
莲花童子
is the golden Padma Kumara.
There
are the four major mountains in China, or Buddhist mountains in China. Mount Ermei, the spiritual center of Samantabhadra Bodhisattva. Mount Utai, the spiritual center for Manjushri Bodhisattva. Mount Butho, the spiritual center for Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, and Mount Jiuhua is the spiritual center of Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva. As it was mentioned in Siddhigarbha Sutra, there was a chapter entrusting the human and the heavenly realms. The Buddha entrusted all the sentient beings to Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva. And Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva is one of the 8 great bodhisattvas. Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, Manjusri Bodhisattva, Samantabhadra Bodhisattva, Maitreya Bodhisattva, Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva, Akasagarbha Bodhisattva, Vajrapani Bodhisattva, and Viskambi Bodhisattva. They are the 8 great bodhisattvas. Sakyamuni Buddha
天附属
especially
地藏王菩萨，
entrusted the human and the heavenly realms to Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva.
所以这一尊是
So this
非
deity
常伟大的八大菩萨，
is truly
释
great.
迦牟尼佛
Eight great bodhisattvas. Of the eight great bodhisattvas, Sakyamuni Buddha did not entrust to Manjusri or Samantabhadra or Avalokitesvara, all those great bodhisattvas. Instead, he entrusted to Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva.
这就是他有特殊的
So
特殊的。
he's special.
世尊以地藏王菩萨
Something is special about him. So Grandmaster
要举行他的
Yidam is Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva, and next Sunday we will perform his Homa.
我们欢迎大家
And we welcome everybody to support us. Next, I remember when I transmitted Yamantaka Heruka, that was at the Seattle Lechang Temple. At that time, we still used the tent. We set up the tent on the open space and the temple and transmitted Yamantaka. And it rained very hard. And today it also rained very heavily. And the heavy rain at the Seattle Lechang Temple then was very shocking. That it pressed on the tent and the tent toppled. So the rain was so heavy that it toppled the tent. The rainwater just rushed down. Just imagine how big the rain was. Many people were there in attendance. Heavy rain also today. So Yamantaka has infinite majestic power, and he's the main deity at the Heruka Vidyaraja Hall at the Rainbow Temple. And he's also Grandmaster Slu's primary deity.
那这一尊呢，我跟这个大威德金刚相应的时候，是在海底。
When I gained spiritual union with Yamantaka, that was at the bottom of the ocean.
禅定进入。
In my meditation, I entered at the bottom of the ocean, and Yamantaka descended on to the ocean, at the bottom of the ocean. And the whole ocean was like huge waves. It's like boiling water. And the whole ocean was almost turning over. There was very huge waves. So that's how great Yamantaka is. In the Japanese Tantrayana, Yamantaka is an emanation of Amitabha Buddha. In Tibetan Tantrayana, he is the emanation of Manjushri Bodhisattva. Whether it's Amitabha or Manjushri, Amitabha, Manjushri Bodhisattva, and Yamantaka belong to the same system, the same lineage. There was great waves on the, like in the rough sea. And the greatest or the most important Dharma practice of Yamantaka is called the 13 deity Yamantaka. His appearance, he has 32 faces, 36 arms, 32 faces and 36 arms. The one with 32 faces, 36 arms are called the 13 deity Yamantaka. That's the greatest one, the greatest Yamantaka. And this transmission has to be done personally, one-on-one. And there's solitary Yamantaka as well, many of them. There are many different appearances. There are 6 faces, 6 arms, 6 legs, riding on a green ox, or 9 faces, 34 arms, 16 legs, or 32 faces, 36 arms. That's called the 13 deity Yamantaka. He had many different manifestations or appearances. I once practiced the Yamantaka Dharma, and at that time, when I was practicing, that was 12. Because the 8 great dragon kings took refuge in Grandmaster, and one of them, one dragon king, was vicious, or the wicked dragon did not accept it. So he appeared in my meditation and spewed spit fire on me, and then I formed the Yamantaka mudra and transform and in union with Yamantaka. And Yamantaka has very sharp horns on his head, like a buffalo. So when the dragon came, and he spitted the fire, and Yamantaka too. So whenever you are in union with Yamantaka and you perform the subjugation dharma, you move his 2 horns, and from the center of those 2 horns, a fire would be gushed or spurted out. And the dragon, the wicked, the evil dragon, flew in the sky, and the 2 horns extended and pierced the eyes of the dragon. And he became blind, so he became a blind dragon. And play of word with Chinese lobster. And then you push them out, and then you use the fire and the two horns to burn the dragon. And then pierce his abdomen, his belly. So that wicked dragon was subdued. That's one of my experience with Yamantaka. The Yamantaka subduing the evil dragon. Remember, you should shake or move. That's the pith formula for subjugation. So move it around, move the horns. If you see Yamantaka and you're in union with Yamantaka and your body transforms to become Yamantaka, and then you move the horns, and the horns would spurt fire that can subdue the four maras, which I chanted: the Mara of afflictions, Mara of illnesses, the celestial Mara, and Mara of death. These four Maras can be subdued. This is an extremely important Dharma, Yamantaka Dharma. The key point is on his two horns that can spit fire or gushed fire. So today we practice the Yamantaka Dharma. Every time at my altar, typically it's like this: Golden Mother, the main deity, Yidam Golden Mother, Yidam Amitabha, Yidam Siddhigarbha. And then on the fourth level, Yamantaka, the Grandmaster's main protector, and and also Akala, Mahabala. Why? Moving it is the key formula, or swaying it, or is the key formula for subjugation. This is important. Like the sword of Akala. When you're in union with Akala, the key would be on that precious sword. And the sword is also moving or rocking. And also fire emitted by the sword, on the sword. As long as you move or you sway the sword, then the sword will emit fire, would spurt fire. Then it would become like propeller, like for the hundreds of thousands or millions of ghosts of the Ghost Witch. What day was it? October 3rd? The 5 major ghosts led thousands of ghost soldiers to execute me at the South Mountain retreat, and I was sleeping, and all of a sudden I opened my mouth and Mahabala came out from my mouth. And the 4 Akala that I use as protectors around at 4 corners, they all handled those ghosts. So the Akala sword also rocking, swaying, and fire came out from it. Then they became like propellers. That's Japanese. That propeller. And they revolve. So the Akala sword also, you visualize the Akala sword swaying or rocking around, and they became propeller, and then went out, and all the heads of the ghosts came down. It was like rivers of blood and mountains of ghost bones. Ever since, not even a tiny ghost ever came again. You know, before that I thought, well, just let her be. All those things, I thought, well, whatever. And who knows? They came to attack the 5 major ghosts. What the names were? The 5 major ghosts. The head ghost led, they led millions of ghost troops to do a sneak attack on Grandmaster Lu. And they said outside my net, I want to bring Grandmaster Lu to see my master in San Francisco. They said that. Imagine. Can you believe that happened? You know what I just said? Grandmaster Lu. Well, actually they did not say Grandmaster Lu. I said it myself. They said, I want to bring you to San Francisco to see my boss. Those ghosts said it in front, outside of my net, my protection net. If this was not truthful, then there's no Grandmaster Lu. I heard it very clearly. So my compassionate heart was ignited into fire. Taking me to see your boss? What the heck is that? I heard it very clearly. So the propeller of the Akala sword chop off the heads of all those ghost troops. So that's causes and conditions of the past. But remember, when you perform the subjugation dharma, the swords have to sway or to rock, and the sword of Akala has to emit light. Fire, spit fire. And if you practice Yamantaka, the horns have to sway and move, and then have to spit out fire. That's the pith teaching of subjugation
我现
Dharma.
在在鬼的肚子里面，
If Grandmaster Lu did
给
not
他们吃的。
do the practice, then I would have been inside the belly of those ghosts. I would have been eaten by them.
不要讲那么严肃。
Let's not be so serious. Let me tell some jokes.
在结婚婚礼以前，新娘小明问主持人
Before the wedding, Xiaoming asked the MC,
婚礼要多少钱？
how much is it for you to conduct a
我们这
ceremony?
里的规定是这样，新娘
And the MC said,
价格就会越高。
the more beautiful the bride is, the more expensive it is.
给了主持人1000块。
So
一呢，
Xiaoming was embarrassed and gave him $1,000. The MC
1000块退回给小明。
was quiet and then
你不用花钱，
returned the
就可以主持
$1,000.
这场婚礼。
And he said, it's free for you.
真的，小明娶老婆，
Xiaoming is getting an ugly wife.
我不能讲胖，因为这里胖的人不少。
I cannot say she's fat because we have many heavy people here.
这里有一个笑话哈，有些事情哦，
It's
你
not a
现
joke.
在想不通没关系，
It's okay if you cannot
没关系。
think through some
像《金刚
things.
经》啊，你如果想不通，
Like the Vajra Sutra, it's okay if you
再
cannot
过一阵子
think it through.
你就想不起来。
Because after a while, you cannot even remember it anymore.
啊，想不通没关系，再过一
So
阵
it's
子
okay.
你就想不起来。
After a while, you'll forget it.
有这个比打泥人还要可耻的事吗？
Is there anything more shameful than beating a woman?
我们以前他有一
Beating a woman is quite shameful. There's a saying in Taiwan,
惊某大丈夫，怕某地高夫，就是这个怕老婆的是大丈夫，打老婆的是主公女。
a good husband is afraid of his wife, but if you beat your wife, you're like an animal.
有，因为你打不过他。
What was the question? I missed that one.
打了半天，反而被他打。
So you cannot win over her. So even if you try to beat her, she beats you instead.
有一个人呐、去剪头发，
Someone got a
这样
haircut
子跟那个美容师讲，我剪头发才100块，
and told
为
the
什么
hairdresser,
剪一个头竟然收500块？
for my haircut it's only $100 and for the dog $500.
剪发要领500块，美容师
To
讲，
groom the dog,
人
$500
家狗
bucks.
敢吃屎，
And the hairdresser, well, the dogs eat poo. How about you?
说我要是敢呢？
What if I
美
do?
容师讲，
And the hairdresser
也
said,
500块。
then you'll have to pay $500 too.
好了，我们进入这个你问我答。
Now we'll do the Q&A session
莲花奇风
from Indonesia.
根本传
莲花奇风
圣尊莲生活佛，
Homage to the lineage Guru, living Buddha Lian Sung. How are you? Please advise kindly. In November 2019, my mother invited a tantric guru from Shangri-La, China. That guru gave blessings using rice in my altar, chanted Sutra, and did Dharma practice. I was very worried because he was not a guru from Buddhist school. So would that affect my lineage? I asked a master who went to Seattle and asked him to have Grandmaster bless my altar and to repurify it. My mother did take refuge in Buddha school, but she did not practice Buddha Tantric Dharma, and she's not quite believe Buddha school. My question is, in the future, if my mother asks another guru again or lama to come and bless the altar at home, what should I do, especially if they also chant sutras and do some rituals there? If I don't let her do it, we will get in an argument. So do I need to repurify my altar every time she invites somebody, some guru, to my house? I really like to repent, and please advise Grandmaster. Because your mother believes in other gurus from other schools and invited them to come to the house to bless the altar. You should just fulfill their wishes. As children, we want to fulfill the wishes of our parents. You do not make any mistakes because your mother does not quite believe in Buddha school. So other tantric guru from other schools come and bless using rice. That is true. Many gurus use rice. They sprinkle rice as a method of purification on the altar. And the question is, after inviting a tantric guru from Shangri-La, China, Shangri-La is the same as Shambhala, to come to your house. So Shambhala was transliterated into Shangri-La in Chinese. Actually, it's Shambhala. There's a song called Shangri-La. Anybody can sing it?
谁会唱？没有人会唱歌啊。奇怪，好像那个调。是吗？
Is that the melody? It's not right. No need. The Shambhala kingdom, the first king of Shambhala kingdom is Manjushri Bodhisattva. And the second king was Padma Kumara, the White Lotus King. So a tantric guru from Shangri-La, China. Let me ask you, is there Shangri-La in China? Yeah, some people say it's the city of Diqing in Yunnan. Is it? Diqing city in the Yunnan province, and some people regarded it as Shangri-La, but that's only superficially. According to the Sutra, all those who live in the Shambhala kingdom are sages. That's a pure land. They are sages who live in Shambhala kingdom. On earth you cannot find Shambhala. It's a very mystical underground kingdom. It's a Shambhala kingdom, underground Shambhala kingdom. So a tantric guru that said came from Shangri-La, China, that's Diqing. Diqing is just a place. In Tibet. There are several different tribes in Tibet, not just the Tibetans, but there are the local tribes. And it's inside the snowy mountain of one of the tribe, inside the cave. That's what, according to what I know. That's what I know. And there are 10 miles of Longzhangjing. Longzhang or Longzhang. So of course we cannot say, because of that tantric guru, she asked someone to show the photo of the altar to be purified. Dragon Sutra. So you should never argue with your own mother. This is Lian Hua Qi Feng from Indonesia. Don't fight with her, just let her. If she's done it, she's done it. And what should you do? Very simple. Every time she does that, then you just send your photo again. And to be blessed by Grandmaster. That will do. So to be blessed and to be purified again. That's fine. Please don't get into an argument with mom, with your mother. Because when you have harmony, everything will go well. So that's for Lian Hua Qi Feng from Indonesia. But a tantric guru from Shangri-La, China. We have Shangri-La Hotel in Hong Kong, right? I have dined there. Of course I know. Maybe a tantric guru that came out from the Shangri-La Hotel of Hong Kong. Of course, we cannot say that he has no capabilities. There are many guru or lama. Lama means teacher or master. And geshe means like a doctorate, like a PhD. and Gampu means abbot, and Rinpoche means a reincarnated living Buddha. Kampo means abbot, and Lama means master. And some people who just became ordained and they call him Lama, that's not right. And Geshe means like a PhD. They're PhD, there are several levels after they pass the exam for Geshe. Okay, that's fine. How could he sang louder than I did? I sang that, right, just now? That's how I remembered it. Next question from Taiwan. Lotus SKYE CHAO. This person used English CHAO. Homage to lineage Guru. Please advise. When we propagate a Buddha Tantric Dharma to foreigners, it's rather easy to teach them how to chant the mantra, and they like to practice meditation. However, teaching them to chant sutras, they may find it very difficult, and they are not quite enthusiastic about it. So, chanting True Buddha Sutra or hiking Kuan Yin Sutra as part of the practice procedure, is it necessary? Do we have a brief version, or should we ask them to chant the English versions of the sutras? So, is it better to teach them step by step or gradually in their Dharma practice, teaching them to chant mantras first and then chanting sutras later on? Please advise. What this person said was also right. Tantric Dharma in the West have been propagated by many schools. Tibetan Tantrayana, Tibetan Tantric Buddhism, for all the four major sects: white, red, yellow, and Sakya. So mantra is easier, and sometimes the mantras were transliterated directly from Tibetan to English. They like to train in meditation. Actually, meditation, the earliest meditation exists in Hinduism, contemplation and meditation. Indians and Hindus like to contemplate the most or meditate. And Sakyamuni Buddha, the meditation Sakyamuni Buddha was talking about, exists in Hinduism. Hinduism is all about contemplation and meditation. And Sakyamuni Buddha put great importance on meditation because meditation can allow attainments. That's why we often say that meditation and wisdom. So in Hinduism, all Hindus have to contemplate and meditate. So the origin should be from Hinduism. And Buddhism too also use meditation. So that's visualization in Tantric Buddhism, the so-called visualization. That's why Tantric Buddhism is also called the religion of the power of the mind. By visualizing or by thinking, it would generate power, the mind power. So foreigners now love to learn meditation too. That's true. I have a disciple in Kamano Island, and they took me there, and several Caucasians, Westerners sit together, and then they ring a bell, a very loud bell. So they sat around a round table, and they put a singing bowl, and then they use the palette to ring the bowl. And it sounded a very long time. And listening to it, they meditated. And I went there and I saw them. Many people sitting together and entering into meditation by listening to that sound, by concentrating on the sound. They are training that way at the Kamano Island. I had the disciple at the Caucasian in Kamano Island, and he took me to his house, and they all learned to meditate. And about chanting sutras, Chinese like to chant sutras, Heart Sutra, Vajra Sutra, or Diamond Sutra, and many other sutras, Universal Gate Sutra, Hiking Kuan Yin Sutra, True Buddha Sutra. We all chant sutras. And it's rather difficult for them because we use the Chinese. Or for the Cantonese, use Cantonese, or the Japanese, use Japanese. When I visited Shikoku, the 88 spiritual centers of Kukai, Kukai in Japanese, Okobudaishi. Kukai. There is a Hiking Kuan Yin Sutra handwritten by Kukai. So the Hiking Kuan Yin Sutra also spread to Japan. They also chanted. It was written in Japanese, and we can also translate it into English. True Buddha Sutra and Hiking Sutra can be translated into English and to be chanted by the English speakers. But in America, we are the foreigners. It's not for us. It's for the Caucasians or the English speakers. Oh. So it's better to teach them gradually. First learn to chant mantra and then chant sutra later. That's fine. And the practice procedure, that's fine too. And chant the sutras later on because it's rather difficult for them because they don't understand the meanings. So that's how it is. I saw the Hiking Guan Yin Sutra was translated into Japanese at the Kukai's 88 spiritual centers. It was laid there, printed on a white paper, the Japanese version of Hiking Guan Yin Sutra. So the Hiking Guan Yin Sutra had spread quite widely. So the question asked by a Taiwanese disciple, it is fine according to what you think or what you wrote. Let me tell a joke. A couple wanted to name the newborn baby, and the wife said, I want the child to have a virtue. And the husband said, I want him to be healthy. So let's use Kang. And the wife said, Ping. So Ping Kang. That's a good one. Why are you laughing? And the husband said, it feels pretty good, Ping Kang. But the wife said, but your family name is O. O Ping Kang. That's in Taiwanese, means picking your nose. So the son of Yi Xian, the family name is Chen, and we wish him health. So his name is Chen Kang. That's very good name. Sounds nice. Harry's and Yi Xian's son. He's called Chen Kang. In the clinic there are many patients, and when someone talked to the doctor, what should I do? I mistakenly drank a bottle of gasoline, and the doctor said, don't worry, just don't smoke this few days. An old man from the village bought the lowest class of the train ticket, but he sat in the higher class. And then the conductor said, oh, you bought the wrong ticket. Then you should pay more. Because you bought the ticket for the slow train, but you ride on the fast train. So he said, well, why don't you ask the whatever you call it, the driver of the train to run the train slower. Oh, jeez. Yeah. Now let's talk about the Vajra Sutra. Yesterday we talked about Subhuti. What do you think? Does the Tathagata speak on the Dharma? Subhuti replied, both honored one, the Tathagata has not spoken. Now this Buddha, The Buddha spoke again. Subhuti, what do you think? Is there an infinite amount of dust particles in the 3,000 great thousand worlds? Subhuti replied, countless, world honored one. Frankly speaking, Sakyamuni Buddha truly had tremendous supernatural power. At those times, there were not astronomic equipments. How could he know about solar systems, about countless numbers of solar systems? Yet Sakyamuni Buddha could say it. Subhuti, what do you think? All the dust in the 3,000 great thousand worlds. So this statement alone showed how great Sakyamuni Buddha's supernatural power is. He knew about the 3,000 great thousand worlds. You can check what is the small thousand worlds, medium thousand worlds, great thousand worlds. That's the whole cosmos, billion-fold universes. It's undescribable. It's undescribable universes, the whole cosmos. How could Sakyamuni Buddha know? Nowadays, through the modern day sciences, we know that the universe is infinite and we don't know where the borders are. Nobody knows now. But yet Sakyamuni Buddha could say that all the dust in the 3,000 great thousand worlds. Christianity, Catholicism, or Muslim, they only talk about one heaven, one hell, and one human world. That's all their universe is about. Only Sakyamuni Buddha could talk about the 3,000 great thousand worlds, which is the infinite cosmos. That's the Buddha's eye, the celestial eye, the wisdom eye, the Tathagata's eye, not just physical eye. He could see the 3,000 great thousand worlds, the infinitely sized world or cosmos. That's how great Sakyamuni Buddha is. Other religions only mention about one heaven, one human world, and one hell. Yet the Buddha could talk about 3,000 great thousand worlds and all the dust particles. What is a dust particle? That's PM 2.5. You cannot see with naked eyes. You cannot see the dust particles. I have told this joke, right? The Tang Sanzang monk brought the Monkey King to get the sutra. And then they got to a place and the mountains are in a mist and the birds and the trees, everything is very misty. It looks like a fairyland. So the Monkey King thought this is close to the Sukhavati and asked the monk, are we close to Sukhavati, the Pure Land? And the monk replied, no, this is Taichung of Taiwan. Taichung in Taiwan, Taichung City in Taiwan. How come? That's because of the coal-powered power generator, electric power generator. So the smog that they emitted It makes everything is like in a smoke, like in a mist. I have a house called the Peak of the Bodhisattvas. And when I look down, the smoke covering all the buildings, all the houses, like an ocean of smoke. That's not mist, that's a PM 2.5. And also the whole Nantou. If you stand at the Taiwan Leizang Temple and you look down, the whole town of Caotun was in that smoke. Such a pity. And the Monkey King said, "Is this the Western paradise?" And the monk said, "If you like this place, why don't you stay here? I will still go to the west. But this is Taichung city of Taiwan." And the Monkey King said, "No, no, no. I want to go with my guru to go to the west to get the sutras." But the monk said, "There's a benefit. If you stay here, you would get to the western paradise very fast. Very fast. Sooner or later, you would get some lung cancer. And soon you would go to the western paradise." So dust particles of all the 3,000 great thousand worlds, the PM 2.5, are there many of them? You can see them, countless. You can see them. Well, many or not? And Subhuti replied, "Countless, Lord Honored One." Subhuti, the Tathagata said, "The dust is not dust, it is merely named dust." The same phrase, dust, is just a name. Dust is a name. We know that PM 2.5 is the fine dust. But at that time, there was no telescope. You cannot see the fine dust. So all the dust particles of the 3,000 great thousand worlds, are they infinite? Subhuti replied, "Infinite, countless." The Tathagata said, "The dust is not dust, it is named dust." So the dust exists, but you cannot see it. Therefore, we can barely name it dust. The same with PM 2.5, you cannot see it. The fine dust. When we were in Taiwan, we wear some air purifier that would expel the PM 2.5 so that we can breathe in cleaner air. Is it real? Is it real, or is it just comfort to comfort us? So you don't know. It's made in Japan. We hang it on our neck. We cannot see it. So we give it a name. It's called dust particles or fine dust. There's some that got inside the house too. You cannot see it there. But if you stand on top of a mountain or at the high rise, then you would be able to see the smoke all over Taichung, Nantou, Changhua, everywhere. And next, the Tathagata also said that the world is not a world, it is called the world. The world is not a world. This world, can you see? Can you see it? No. With the physical eyes, all we can see is the city called North Bend. right?
North Bend，
North
我们看
Bend.
到了 Rainbow Villa， 彩虹雷藏
We can see Rainbow Villa, Rainbow Temple.
我们到了 Raymond， 就看到 Raymond
When we
雷藏
go to Redmond, we can see the Redmond Leizang Temple,
眼
our
睛所看到的就是这个样。
Redmond Leizang Temple. That's all we can see with our physical eyes. Can you see the world?
No， 那不是世界。
And when you see the earth and you say, "Oh, I see the world," no, the world is big, including the moon.
那不是世界，还有火星、土星。
And not just that, there's also Saturn, Mars,
海王星、
Pluto, Neptune, Uranus,
见不到的。
and many other planets.
另外还有别的
And other than this solar system, there are other solar systems.
那个光
I heard there are 100 suns that their lights do not reach us.
世界非世界。
So, Subhuti, the world is not a world, it is called the world. So, the explanation is clear here.
其实我们看不到。
We say the world, actually, we cannot see it. We can barely name it the world. We just give it a name, the world. But actually, you cannot see it. That means it's not the
就算你
world.
看得见，
Even if you can see it.
也是因缘和合。
And that's due to the
这个
coexistence of causes and
根
conditions.
本也没有，
The Sengyan Lu that you can see
因为那是四
can
大组合，
deteriorate.
地水火风。
Fundamentally, it doesn't exist. It's just a coexistence of the four elements:
肉就是地，
the earth, water, wind,
身
and
体
fire.
血液就是水呀，
And the bones and the flesh are the earth,
呼吸就是
the
风，
blood is the water,
四大组合啊，
and the temperature is the fire, and the breathing is the wind.
看得见吗？
So, it's just a combination of the four elements. But once they disperse or dissipate,
这个
then you would not be able to see Sengyan Lu anymore.
77年前有
So,
正念吗？没有。
77 years ago, was there Sengyan Lu?
看不到
No.
我
And in a few years, you will not be able to see me
不是因为
either.
暂时的一个名
So
词
there is no Sengyan Lu. Sengyan Lu is just a temporary name, and that's the
世
world.
界非世界。
So the world is not the world. It is called the world. That's how it is explained. Subhuti, what do you think? Can one see the Tathagata through the 32 physical characteristics of a Buddha? No, world honored one. One cannot see the Tathagata through the 32 physical characteristics. Why? Because the Tathagata said that 32 physical characteristics are not physical characteristics, they are called the 32 physical characteristics. So this is talking about the characteristics here, which is also phenomena or appearances. The Vajrasutra talks about phenomena and appearance. So everything can deteriorate, can break. There was a chair that was good, but then I shook it several times. I lifted it myself and then dropped myself, and then the chair broke. So the chairs will break, and the table too, and the house, everything can go bad. So the newly built houses are new house, and it becomes old house, and then empty house, and then it would be demolished. And the same with cars made of metals, and it will break after a few years. They will become scrap metal. Everything will break or go bad. Everything are non-phenomena. Is there anything that doesn't go bad, doesn't break? Everything will break. And the real estate properties in Chinese is called immovable assets. But actually everything is movable because with the earthquake everything will move. Even the earth will go bad. Like what the Buddha said about impermanence, about creations, existence, deteriorations, and emptiness. So this statement has been explained. Subhuti, what do you think? Can one see the Tathagata through the 32 physical characteristics of Buddha? Noble honored one, one cannot see the Tathagata through the 32 physical characters. Why? Because the Tathagata said that 32 phenomena are not phenomena, they are called the 32 physical characteristics. Those are the physical characteristics of Tathagata. Like the ears that touch the shoulder, and the wide and long tongue that can cover the face. That would be quite scary. That would cover the whole face. So the look at the appearance of the phenomena of Tathagata, of a Buddha, is very magnificent. But they are false appearances, just to symbolize the Buddha. Of course, they are not real. So can you see a Tathagata through the 32 physical characteristics of physical 32 appearances? No, you cannot see. And they are not phenomena. So non-phenomena in the Vajra Sutra, remember, this non-phenomena. Because the Vajra Sutra talks about non-phenomena. During the second turn of the Dharma wheel, Sakyamuni Buddha was talking about non-phenomena. All the phenomena are non-phenomena. I see a girl, very beautiful. That's non-phenomena. You see her to be beautiful now. She's 20, of course she's beautiful. But when she's in her 80s, take a look again. They would be sorry. It'll change, impermanence. And lastly, hula, that's part of the joke from the Mahjong. It's like a glob of glue. It's play of words of Chinese. And then you just put inside an urn and then put in the columbarium. In the twin lotus columbarium. Doesn't matter how beautiful you were. You ended up with an urn. And doesn't matter how ugly you were. You're also just an urn. And how about your original appearance, or the 32 appearances, or 32 physical characters? All gone. Just an urn left. So the Buddha said non-phenomena, no phenomena. Everything will go bad. Doesn't matter how beautiful you are. No use, useless. This is a very wise statement. Human beings only see the present. They don't think about the future. They just want to earn money, to get rich, to buy properties, to buy lands and houses, to enjoy their lives.
到最后怎么样？
And at the end,
终于服了。
you are at the end. That's the end.
归一下。
So the Buddha saw those are all non-phenomena,
讲得很清楚。
no appearances. It's stated clearly. The Buddha said the 32 phenomena are not phenomena. They are called the 32 phenomena. So the 32 physical characteristics of phenomena will not stay eternally. They will go bad. They would become non-appearance or non-phenomena. So, although you do have the 32 physical characteristics, but they can go bad. So they are non-characteristics or non-phenomena. And the last one, everybody should understand. Subhuti, should there be good men and good women, as many as the grains of sand of the Ganges river, who forsake their bodies and lives as an act of giving, compared to a person who upholds and teaches his sutra, even if it is only the 4-line verse, the latter will have greater blessings. We've talked about this before. Even if you give that much, it cannot be compared to the merits of this 4-line verse. The non-phenomena of self, non-phenomena of others, non-phenomena of sentient beings, and non-phenomena of lifespan. In the future, when the earth was destroyed, there's no that the non-phenomena of self, others, sentient beings, and lifespan will appear when the earth is broken. No more human beings, no more self, no more others, no more sentient beings, and no more the people with long lives. So lifespan is time, sentient beings is space. Now do you understand? Two female stars arguing with each other. All the flowers that were given to me or thrown at me on the stage can be used to open floors. And the other one, what's so big deal about that? The bricks that they threw at me when I was on stage can be used to build a house. Oh, money, pay me home.